Hey everybody, I'm Delicia and thanks for tuning into the CIGARVIXEN channel. Today I'm very excited to be lighting up the Wiseman. This is the Maduro follow-up. This is the line extension, if you will, to the original and the premier cigar release for Foundation Cigar Company. Again, the Maduro version, and I'm so excited to smoke it. In fact, I'm gonna tell you guys that this is the first time I'm actually gonna light this one up. I only had one that I brought back from IPCPR. This was, of course, the new release that, one of the new releases that Nick brought out for the show. And I only had one. I was supposed to go back. The show is so chaotic that when we were doing our interview, you know, we got to talking, and then after that we like grabbed a coffee, and then it was just kind of like, hey, I gotta go to the next appointment. I'll be back and I'll grab, you know, a couple samples so I can do a review and whatnot. And I didn't end up going back. And so I had one that luckily my very good friend John Papas gave me. He gifted me like the night before. He's like, hey, you gotta try this Maduro version. And anyway, so I'm smoking it for the first time. I've been saving it, just kind of letting it sit. And again, super stoked. I normally don't like to do reviews like that. Of course, I like to at least smoke maybe 2 or 3 beforehand, just to get a feel for the flavors. Also to, you know, give it justice as far as the construction and whatnot, because every so often you get a stick that maybe doesn't burn correctly or whatever that might happen. And so hopefully that doesn't happen on this one, because it wouldn't be a fair assessment only smoking one. But anyway, let's get into it. So this is a box pressed. It comes in the same, I believe the same 5 sizes as the original. The difference is this one is featuring a beautiful Mexican San Andres wrapper to give it that Maduro touch. I'm so excited. That's like my favorite wrapper. Those of you who watch the reviews know that I always talk about the Mexican San Andres. It's like, again, super flavorful, an incredible tobacco to taste, I believe also to work with. But what I didn't realize, and this I was doing some reading, that seed variety, the Mexican San Andres seed variety, is actually one of the oldest tobacco seed varieties for cigars, even older than the Cuban seed, which I didn't realize that. I would have assumed that the Cuban seed was older. So that's kind of just like an added bonus. I always liked it, but that kind of gives it even more, I don't know, something, but very cool. So Nick Malio is like a world traveler. I'm going to attach our interview at the very end of this review that we did during IPCPR. It's on the IPCPR video, but it's such a long video that, I don't know, in case you guys want to watch it again, it's just a lot of cool stuff that he talks about. And this cigar, again, it's the follow-up. I actually will show you a tight shot comparing the original. I have a couple of the original blend Lanceros. The similarity as far as the blend is that both have the Corojo 99 seed, you know, tobacco in the cigar. I don't know as far as the placement. I believe it's on the binder. On this one, it's on the, I think it's on the wrapper and the binder. I'm not sure. I can't remember offhand, but I know that it has that, they have, you know, that particular tobacco in common. As far as other tobaccos that are used in the fillers on these cigars, the Maduro does have all Nicaraguan filler. And then again, that Nicaraguan grown Corojo 99, and it's actually coming out of Jalapa. So lots of good flavor on that one. And again, that's the similarity it has with the original, but of course different wrappers, and I'm sure they changed the blend up slightly, but I don't know exactly. But the coloring, of course, this one has that red instead of the blue. And then something that was kind of sneaky that I didn't catch at first glance is that this one, the Maduro with the red band, has the name the Wiseman, and then underneath it in parentheses it says El Gueguense, which of course is the translation in Spanish to English. And the original is flipped. So the original has El Gueguense, and then underneath it, it says the Wiseman, like the translation of it. So that was kind of cool. Again, Nick always throws all these like really cool little interesting, I mean, the way he thinks out all of the cigars, the names, the artwork is just, it's absolutely incredible. It's mind-blowing. I love it. I've always, like, I think I've told you guys the story like a million times, but he was one of the first people that I got to talk with, like when I first got into the industry. And this was like maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago or so, that he just so happened to give me a cigar. I smoked it, saw him the next day and was like, hey, you know, we started talking about it. And since then, he's somebody that whenever possible, I try and pick his brain, because he just knows a lot, and he's such a cool guy, super down to earth, that hopefully those of you who go to different cigar events will get the chance to meet him and talk with him. And he's just, I mean, there's no words. He's just someone that I consider like not just a wealth of knowledge, but I'm very fortunate to call him a friend. Just super cool guy, and couldn't be happier to see that his cigar company is doing so well. You can also check out one of his cigars in my 2018 calendar, the Upsetters. That's an infused type of cigar mix, so completely different profile than what I'm going to be smoking today. But I've been talking your ear off as usual, so I'm going to go ahead and get right into this one. I'm going to take the little tip off here. So right off the bat, you get an earthy with a little hint of a spice off that dry draw there. And I mentioned, I think already, that the Maduro also comes in the same staple 5 sizes. I think it's a Robusto, a Corona, Gorda, Toro, Churchill, and then there's one other size. It's Torpedo, comes in the Torpedo. And then he did, of course, that special Lancero edition, which I have those, and hopefully he does it again with the Maduro. I would think so. I'll be excited to try those. But again, make sure you stay tuned for after the review. I'm going to attach that interview, and it's just cool to, like, it gives you a good glance at like the type of person that he is, and he talks about all the different stuff going on and why he named stuff certain things. It's really cool. Yum. Oh, right away you get that traditional type of flavoring. You get that spice, black pepper on the tip, and even like kind of just even on that finish. And you get a little bit of a muted kind of a cocoa in the background, but really that spice. I mean, I'm still feeling the spice, and it's gone from that initial spice of black pepper to right now it's kind of has like the cinnamon type of spice to it on that finish. So pretty interesting. Oh, just lovely. I love it. Beautiful aroma, nice amount of smoke output. Oh, there's a hint of a espresso-ish coffee. I think more coffee than espresso. It's not as bitter per se. It's kind of just, you get like a little bit of that flavor, but really the spice is what you get the most flavor. Not spice as far as like it stings or anything like that. It just gives that flavor of a nice, very tasty, right in the middle, I would say, almost of a black pepper. And then you get that finish after a minute or so, maybe less, maybe like 30 seconds, of a cinnamon. Really, really nice. I'm totally loving this already, only like 2 puffs in. But look at that smoke, just beautiful. Well, I'm gonna definitely take my time. I'm gonna enjoy this cigar, being that it's my only one that I have. And I'm gonna check back in with you guys for, of course, for the second third. So coming back for the second third, I'm kind of like midway through the second third on the Wiseman. Flavors are really good. It's a mixture of a nice sweet and spicy type of a feel to it. Definitely pick up those espresso notes in here. The spice is kind of muted, like you feel it. You feel that spice. It's more leaning towards that black pepper than it was in the beginning that had a little bit of that cinnamon on the finish. I don't really get the cinnamon anymore. It's more of the black pepper, but again, kind of muted. Instead, you get little notes of sweet in and out, mixture of like an anise type of a sweetness, and also little bits of cocoa, kinds of that typical type of Maduro-y feel to it, but really nice. Again, just that really good balance of sweet and spicy. I said it already, but that's kind of what the feel is, that you get longer spice on that finish, but smoking beautifully, especially like I mentioned, it's the first time that I smoked this particular stick, and we lucked out because the construction is just beautiful. Razor sharp burn line. The ash held on the first bit pretty decent. It fell off a little while ago, but smoking just nice. I mean, beautiful airflow, nice amount of smoke output, really good stick. So gonna continue to smoke it down and check back in with you guys one last time for the final third. So down pretty much to the nub on the Wiseman. The flavors haven't changed a whole lot since the last time I checked in. There's been a little bit of an introduction of a leathery component to the smoke itself and that feel, that finish. But the flavors are pretty much almost exactly the same since the last time I checked in. Sweet, spicy mixture. Still get that little bit of anise, that cocoa in the background, and still that black pepper spice. Really not at all any cinnamon like it was in the first third. Really more of just that black pepper, little bits of sweetness kind of throughout, but really good stick. Now I'm super torn because I don't know which one I like better. The original, the Maduro. I guess the only thing to do is to smoke more of both to make that decision. So hopefully you do the same. But as always, I welcome your feedback. Would love to hear from those of you who have smoked it before. Have you smoked the original? Did you smoke the Maduro yet? What are your thoughts? Are you planning on getting them? Love to hear that feedback. Again, I count on you guys to help me through my next reviews, to pick out what you want to see, and of course, again, that awesome feedback that you guys give. So thank you so much. Nick, if you're watching, I'd really like you to work on maybe like a ring, like an actual ring with the band, because I'm really digging it. I love the color, and it totally works. So if you make any rings, let me know. I will rock them. Anyways, thanks again for stopping by, and stay tuned for the full interview with Nick Melillo of Foundation Cigars. See you soon. Cheers.
Yeah? Where are you going?
I'm just going over to Karen for 2 minutes.
All right, tell her I said hi. Are we good? Is this backpack in the way? No.
You're so funny.
That's all. I just want it to be perfect.
Oh, you're awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to be here with my good friend Nick Melillo of Foundation Cigars. I'm so excited. Like, I love everybody, but I absolutely love coming here because, one, your booth has amazing playlists going on.
We got to keep it popping.
The artwork is like, I mean, every year it's just like, wow. It goes from being amazing to like a whole nother level. Not to coin the phrase, but hey, you know.
We're trying to take it to that next level.
I hear
so
you.
It's exciting. My friend Jay Williams did these amazing three-dimensional art pieces.
Absolutely
that
amazing.
Are very unique, I think.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, just a lot of detail. I can't wait to go around and really look at each one. So,
yeah. You know, it's a show, so we try to, you know, we know people are coming from a long way, so we want to put on a show.
Doing it right.
Yeah, trying.
Well, I'm excited to try this new one. In fact, I'm not going to be shy here. I'm going to go right ahead and light up the. Now, say the name.
Highclere Castle.
Okay.
It's kind of a surreal project. And I'm going to switch up now. So
Switch it up.
You know, you don't have a lot of lights.
True.
Sometimes I get this light reflection that triggers a headache.
Oh, no. Can't have that. We need you functioning all week long.
And then the only thing that cures it is a pitch dark room and a lot of sleep. And
wow. That's not happening this week.
Not happening.
Definitely.
So Highclere Castle, it's kind of a surreal project. I'm still in awe of it. A friend of mine, Adam, from Connecticut, owns a moonshine distiller called Onyx Moonshine. We've been friends for some time now, and he's working on a scotch with a gentleman by the name of Lord Carnarvon, Highclere Castle.
I love the name.
5,000-acre estate. He's the godson to the Queen of England.
Jeez.
Right.
That's really neat.
That's really neat, and it's where the show Downton Abbey has been filmed. And so Adam talked to Lord Carnarvon, and we met and became friends. And he came down to Nicaragua, very much into agriculture and farming. So he's very down to earth, you know.
Yeah.
We hit it off instantaneously. And when he saw Nicaragua, and when he saw Seed to Smoke,
yeah.
the process, he was blown away. And you know, I had been working on blends, and when he started smoking the blends, he was just in love. And Highclere has a very old history of smoking cigars. There's a smoking room and the library that was custom. After a meal,
Really?
we went and smoked a cigar. So when I learned about this also, I started geeking out, and I said, guys, you know, is there any archives of you know, anything cigar? So they had the archivist at the castle dig in, and they found the old documents to the Partagas factory.
No way! Wow.
His great grandfather discovered King Tut's tomb with Howard Carter, with cigar in hand when he discovered it. It's crazy.
How do you find, like, your stories with, like, every one of your lines have, like, this deep-rooted historical tie, and then, oh my God, I'm always blown away.
You know, to be able to use the box as a canvas to bring forth, you know, art and brands has been amazing for me. You know, since 2003, I've been pretty invested in the production aspect and the, you know, blending tobacco. So to take that and then be able to connect it with branding has been really fun. And our artist, I think you met him, Alex Garcia, Thief Operandi in Nicaragua, has been doing an amazing, I mean, our catalog.
Wow. It's an art book.
It's an art book. I mean, we really had some good time to really work with this, and this he started doing as sort of a tribute to our Nicaragua, Connecticut connection. Sorry to jump around. But
no, please do.
We just opened our office in March in Connecticut, in the heart of the Connecticut River Valley, on a 50-acre tobacco farm.
Oh, wow.
Which is a dream come true. So Highclere just fit perfectly now with real ties to history.
Well, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, there has to be a backstory here because it's very different. You know, the overall is aesthetically, and then even just smoking, like the blend itself, is very different. Yeah. And I was curious to know that. So wow.
So I've worked. You know, I wanted to come up with a blend that was sort of reminiscent of these cigars that I was getting from the archives. I have smoked. His great grandfather was very fond of the Partagas factory in Cuba in the 20s. So I smoked a few Partagas actually from the 30s and 40s that were given to me. Wow. So I wanted to create something that was sort of reminiscent of those times, but also something really unique. You know, the Connecticut Shade wrapper is the best Connecticut Shade you can get on the market. And it's just a very elegant, golden, you know.
No, it plays well. I mean, the whole idea is perfect for it.
So, and I've never, you know, we have a brand called Charter Oak with Connecticut Shade, but I've never really blended a cigar that's been a true Connecticut on a higher end scale of things. So it was very exciting for me. And you know, Connecticut Shade is so thin.
I was gonna say, it seems like it'd be difficult to work with, and find that right balance and still give it that, you know, the pop and the flavor.
And that's the challenge. So what happens a lot of times is it's so thin, right? So whereas, say, a filler tobacco is like the Tabernacle, there's a lot of Vizos and they have heavy leaf in it. Yeah. If you put a Connecticut Shade on that, it doesn't buffer the filler tobaccos. So that would be very aggressive on your palate.
Oh, I can imagine,
So that's the trick sometimes. I think with Connecticut Shade, a lot of people then start to tone down the filler tobaccos, because if you're using heavier tobaccos, they get really aggressive because it's so thin and you don't have the buffer. So what really tied this blend in for me was the binder is Matafina from Brazil.
Okay.
Which is one of my favorite tobaccos.
I was like wondering what that something is in there. Okay.
It's got that, you know, it's got a nice little sweetness to it.
Yeah, it has that unique sweetness too.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's very distinct. I've been traveling to Brazil for a long time, 2005.
Where don't you go? I swear.
You know, I've been fortunate to be able to travel a lot. And, you know, I have a tobacco consulting company behind the scenes, so I still have a lot of projects in different countries. So, you know, I'm fortunate to be very connected to tobacco growers throughout the world. Which
You've always been my mentor. I always pick your brain whenever possible.
This is not.
Where's the sampler?
Oh, I'm sorry. We're in the middle of an interview right here. It's all right.
I didn't see the camera.
No, it's all right.
No problem. We can edit that. No
It's
worries.
a great guy right there. So tobacco for us, the foundation, not to be cliche, but that is the foundation of our company, knowing that, you know, the history.
Yeah. Well, the knowledge that you have. I mean,
And knowledge is, you know,
it's everything.
We have a hands-on approach.
Yeah, you do.
Which is good. So it's been, you know, to be able to share this and to work with, you know, a gentleman like Lord Carnarvon, it's.
His name is still, that's amazing.
It's great, you know, and we've gotten, which is interesting, I've gotten a lot of messages on Facebook, personal messages on Instagram, similar messages, which I haven't seen before, from guys saying, you know, Nick, I heard something that I haven't heard from my wife in a while. She said, I have to buy that box of high flare castles.
That's pretty neat.
Which is cool.
Yeah,
you know, because
absolutely. It's beautiful.
It's one of the most recognized TV shows in the world.
It's
So
amazing. But just the fact that you were able to find that like deep-rooted tobacco tie, it just, I mean, wow.
Well, and that's what we
impressive.
wanted to be sure, you know, it's all about the tobacco and it's all about the brand. And that's what you know, with all of Foundation's products, it's this combination of the brands to mimic the quality of the tobacco. So not make balance, you know.
Oh yeah.
I don't want it to be a
job.
gimmicky thing or.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't
know.
want to say the word, but yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you don't,
because that, unfortunately, that is around.
And I think there's been a lot of different brands. Sometimes you get famous people involved or something, and it kind of loses what it's about. And for us, it's about tobacco. This is the cornerstone of our company.
Oh, for sure.
And you know, of course, the brands also. So, I mean, the box is, you know, very elegant.
Wow.
You know.
And it's simple, but
that's the thing. I didn't want to come across, you know.
Oh, nice, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the band too. It's very simple and elegant.
I didn't want to really,
nice.
again, come across that, you know, too much on packaging, and I didn't want to make it too. I don't want it overstated.
Absolutely.
It's such an elegant.
All of them have something very unique. All your different boxes and obviously the lines are very different, but that's really nice. I mean, you've definitely shown your true colors in the industry of just really just kicking ass. I mean, really amazing.
I appreciate that. It's
I'm
great
always
to
blown
be,
away.
You know, get this feedback and hear it from customers. It makes the sleepless nights and all the stress really worth it. Yeah, it's these times, you know. We spend every waking hour, you know, really hustling to make this happen. And if it wasn't for, you know, my team of close friends and colleagues making this happen, you know, I wouldn't be here. So it's been great.
Well, last year you brought out the
Long.
He's awesome.
He's great.
You got a great team.
It's, you know, it's really expanded this year.
I noticed,
You know, my brother was in the restaurant industry, and I said, Tom, I need help.
Yeah.
And you know, Dave, my VP of sales, has been great, and we brought on back office help with my man Mike Hyatt, who is this guy right here.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, Mike was in the industry since 1997.
Wow.
Good? Yeah?
Okay, so I was starting to say that last year you introduced the Tabernacle.
Yes.
As well as the Charter Oak. It was kind of like the dual.
Yes.
Well, both of the Charter Oaks.
Both of the Charter Oaks, yeah.
And that was, you know, already in addition to the beautiful, you know, the starter of it all.
Yeah.
Wednesday. I love that. Oh man.
cornerstone.
I didn't think you could top that. I don't know if topping it is the right word. It's just, I guess, added and really just, I mean, such a fabulous line.
And I saw your piece on it, and you really captured the real feel of the...
I love Nica, you know that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's my family's from Mexico, but it was something about the first time I went to Nicaragua was just like, this is, I mean, it's such a treat every time I go visit. I love it, and I love that you came out with that. I mean, it was just such a beautiful thing.
Cigar Aficionado Top 25 was
that's amazing.
We got some great accolades from Cigar and Spirits, from
everybody.
a lot of great.
I don't think anybody didn't like it. I mean, it's incredible.
that keeps me going. So
absolutely, well, it's well deserved. Definitely.
Appreciate that. Yeah. So Wednesday is a very special project. The Lancero we have in the Wednesday is a nice
I love that one.
Yeah,
That one, yeah. I
that's
have
a
a couple
special
in my humidor, and I'm like, I just kind of let them sit in there.
Yeah.
I smoked one on a very special occasion. I'm saving those other two for other ones. So
Nice.
the Maduro version now I'm excited about.
Yeah, this
Tell us
is
about
the
that.
Maduro. Wow, yeah. I got to tell you, when I first smoked it after it had some aging time, I was with a friend, and we both lit them up, and we sort of stared at each other, but no words were, and then we didn't exchange any words, and it was. I'm so happy with it. I mean, of course, with all the blends, but this is it's very unique, very different than Tabernacle or any of the brands. But San Andreas, Mexico.
I'm
From
telling
your
you,
tierra.
I swore that
La-
you made it for me. I was
La
throwing that out there.
tierra.
I was trying to create that rumor.
So Mexico also, I've been very involved in with tobacco and farmers. So Mexico it's been very interesting because they sort of were doing things very differently in the fields. They would go into the fields, and a lot of farmers would prime the plant all at once.
Wow.
Okay? Then it would go into a fermentation pile of about 10, 12,000 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And then they bring the temperatures up really high.
Yeah.
They were kind of working, still amazing tobacco,
Yeah.
but they were, and you want to get turnover sometimes. You know,
Yeah.
farmers, there's a lot of investment money in there. So I started working with some great farmers, and I said, listen, we got to change this up a little bit and do things the right way.
Yeah.
So we had those farmers come to Nicaragua. Some team from Nicaragua go to Mexico.
Yeah.
So we're now priming the tobacco properly. Okay?
That's a huge thing.
Tobacco goes into the curing barns.
So they were skipping the curing barn process?
No, they were doing the curing
Oh, okay.
barns, but it was the priming.
Yeah.
So
It
instead
was just
of
like all at once.
all
everything.
at once, they would
Wow.
come in at the plant at like 55, 60, 65 days.
And
when
not like
they
a
thought-
stock cut, just full on, like
Yeah, they
actual.
would
Wow.
remove the leaves, but all at once. Whereas normally you want to do
Yeah, a
the
little bit
bottom
at a time.
3 leaves, you know, and then work your way up the plant every 6 days.
Right.
You're priming the plant. So, and then the fermentation piles were kind of the selection and sorting on texture wasn't the greatest.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then the fermentation temperatures, because you can cure tobacco much faster by bringing the fermentation piles up to high temperatures.
Yeah.
It's just, what are you doing? You're killing a lot of the flavor.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I would
Especially
say,
over time when it's sitting there after it's already been rolled and, I mean,
yeah,
geez.
and you're turning the heat up. It is like my grandmother's pasta sauce. It really is. You know, she's simmering on low temperatures all day
Yeah.
for hours instead of,
Yeah.
you know, out of the can into the, you know, onto the stove.
difference.
It's a huge difference in flavor. So that's what we were trying to do here. So we send the tobacco out of the curing barns to Nicaragua.
Okay.
Sorted in Nicaragua.
Yeah.
We got just much more infrastructure and there to do a good sorting. And then into fermentation piles that are smaller, 7,000 pounds, lower
Like almost
temperature.
half.
Yeah.
Wow. What a
Lower
difference.
temperature, longer time, and I think you can.
Oh, I'm sure.
taste it.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah,
Man.
so it's a different blend than the Gueguense. I did, you know, tweak it
Okay.
according to the San Andreas wrapper.
Yeah.
It's got the same binder, Corojo,
Okay.
but the filler we have some Esteli, Condega, and Jalapa
Okay.
fillers.
Okay,
So
nice.
I think you get those really cocoa dark
Yeah.
espressos. I mean,
Oh, I'm excited.
the aroma of the cigar pre-light is
Yeah. Incredible.
incredible. So all soft box pressed,
Okay.
25 count boxes. So
How many different sizes?
There's 5 different sizes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Churchill, we have the Toro Waco, which we call it, which is a character of the Gueguense. It's
Okay.
not a traditional Toro. It's a 6x56.
Okay.
Okay. The Corona, Robusto, and the Bellicoso.
Nice.
Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah. So, and then we did a yin and yang. So to differentiate it, we then flipped to the Wiseman.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't even
So
catch that.
I like confusing people.
I was just looking at the artwork. Obviously, the band is a different color,
So-
but I didn't realize that.
So if you in the original Gueguense, you have the inverse.
Yeah.
So we just inversed it
I see.
also.
Clever.
So, yeah. So
Yeah, I
I,
totally
you know,
get
I
that.
wanted to really switch it up and make it its its own line also.
Yeah.
And I wanted to also be sure we maintain the trademarking properly
Yeah,
too.
of course. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited about this one. So.
I'm excited about it for you because that's right up my alley.
September 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, both.
Price point is similar to the original.
Yeah, same as the Gueguense. So, and also High Claire is going to be September 1st also.
Okay.
Yep.
And that one, how many sizes is the High Claire?
So we have 5 sizes.
Okay.
Petite Corona. We have the Corona, Robusto, Toro, and Churchill. So very, very traditional.
And can we expect a special like Lancero in that one? Maybe
that's in the works.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Just guessing, you know.
Definitely.
Very
nice.
nice.
Lancero is. I'm working on some. Some interesting graphics. Alex did some amazing artwork for the card and the.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That is absolutely beautiful.
He killed it.
Amazing. Yeah. Every time. I mean, geez.
So.
That's awesome. Really nice.
So it came out really nice. The red band is.
I like that. It's something different.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely pops. Beautiful.
Gotta have it pop. Yeah.
And now, I was like super, just blown away. I got this email, press release about the coffee.
Oh yeah.
I mean, tell us about that.
I drink a lot of
coffee. Seems like the natural,
It's
the next
natural
thing to go
me.
in there.
Yeah, I have some great partners on the project, so I didn't want people to think that I was drifting off too far.
Right.
But for me,
no, not at all. It goes hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
Absolutely.
So every morning on the production floor, coffee is a very much a part of the ceremony.
Yeah.
So we're working with some great guys, and all the coffees really go well with our brands. So we have the Nicaraguan blend for the Wiseman. We have the Upsetters, which is our infused line, but this is not infused coffee, but it's Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee, which is amazing coffee. And when I went up to purchase tobacco for the Upsetters, they're brewing up some amazing coffee in the mountain. You're in the Blue Mountains.
Oh man.
It's chilly up there.
Yeah.
People think Jamaica, but you're high up.
I've never been, but yeah.
It's unbelievable. You would love it though. I mean, between the
beaches
beaches and the mountains, and then we have,
oh, I forgot about that. So we have Nicholas Francoeur. I did a video a couple weeks ago about what people want to see specifically at IPCPR.
Right.
So this is directed to you, Foundation Cigar Company, Nick Malio. Where did you get the idea for the tabernacle? We touched on it briefly, but we didn't really get into, not to cut you off with the coffee, so I don't forget to address that question that was for you. Definitely.
So the tabernacle, cigars have always been a very special ceremony for me. Yeah, it started with smoking with my brother and my grandfather. So I used to treat my humidor as my tabernacle. It was something sacred to me, and the history of tobacco is always something that was a sacrament and ceremony. And I think people realize it or not, we're still partaking in this ceremony of cutting and lighting and so the tabernacle originally was the holding place of the Ark of the Covenant, and the Ark of the Covenant, I've really much been into the history. So Abyssinia, Ethiopia, which many people don't know much, but we know a lot about Ethiopia's starvation, and this happened after 1974, which the communists took over and really caused a lot of problems in the country. Before 1974, you have a reign of kings and queens that go back 3,000 years to the time of Solomon and Sheba. Okay.
That was the cool part when I was reading the history, but I'm glad to hear you actually tell it in person because I'm not as familiar with it.
If you look it up, like even Wikipedia, look up Ethiopia, you're like, what? I mean, nobody really ever realized
this caught the attention of my dad. He was at my house and he's like, what is that? And my dad reads about, he's a history buff, and he was like, he was so drawn to this one. So anyways.
So deep within the culture of Ethiopia, it's one of the oldest Christian kingdoms in the world. They claim to possess the Ark of the Covenant. So this is the last king of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie.
Nice. I could never pronounce the name correctly.
Haile Selassie. He was born with the name Rastafari.
No way. Oh, geez. That's like an immediate tie. Wow.
This is where this all comes from.
That's incredible.
So I thought I've always been into the history, and I thought it was the imagery. This was
it's
his
beautiful.
crowning as king in 1930. And many people, you know, older generations, if you say the name Haile Selassie, they know him right away.
Really?
Because
I imagine,
he was a very close friend of JFK. When JFK passed, Jackie Kennedy chose 4 heads of state to stand at the head of his casket, and Haile Selassie was one of them.
Oh,
so
wow.
there used to be parades when he used to come here into the States. So
That's incredible.
you know, this history
I'm so
was
blown
sort
away
of
with your history knowledge.
lost.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
so
Wow.
you know, for me, I used to live
really
in
cool.
Rome also, and I used to
Of course you did.
work with a lot of Ethiopians.
Wow.
There's this old connection there. So
Yeah.
I got some amazing news 2 weeks ago. One of the family members of His Majesty Haile Selassie was in California, bought a box of tabernacles, brought them back to Ethiopia, was sitting with another gentleman, and said, I got this box. He said, oh, that's a friend of mine, Nicholas Malula. We're IG friends for like 3 years
Wow.
because he smoked cigars in Ethiopia. And then they called me and to do a special cigar for his birthday.
Oh,
So we're doing
wow.
a special
That's incredible.
250 cigars for the royal family for his 125th birthday on the 23rd of this month. So it was really, it was an
That's
honor.
so cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. Big cigar smoking community in the capital of Ethiopia. So
Amazing.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, people sort of look at me sometimes and they're like, where do you get this stuff?
No,
And
it's amazing. I'd
Yeah.
love to read like the full, and you do such a great job on your website because you really
Yeah.
give a lot of information, which
Yeah.
is kind of rare. Not everybody does that.
Yeah.
In fact, most people don't. So it's really nice to be able to get that history, and not only just the knowledge of the tobacco itself, but really the tie into like why you named it and the artwork, and it all comes together so nicely.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth, and you can take
A
the
lot.
brands and
Yeah.
the company,
Yeah.
you know, as far, you know, to many different levels. You know, some guys, they don't want to know anything. Well,
Yeah.
the tobacco is there. So,
Absolutely.
you know, you can really get into the brands, which is cool.
So jumping from
Yeah.
one back to let's talk about the coffee.
So this is an interesting
Ethiopia.
tie because Ethiopia is the origins of all coffee.
Yeah.
Okay, there's the story of the laughing goats. There was a priest who was a goat herder, and they were eating this strange berry bush, and they would start acting a bit, erratic after eating, and they would start laughing. You would call them the laughing goats. And that's how coffee was really first discovered. So when
Wow.
you drink coffee in Ethiopia, it's literally a ceremony. It usually comes out with frankincense and myrrh, because originally the priest would drink it to stay up at night to pray. Okay? So anytime you go to an Ethiopian restaurant, usually it's accompanied with frankincense and myrrh. So so we did a nice Ethiopian blend, and then we did an all-in-one, which is a blend of all three. So I worked with the guys, and we came up with a nice blend of all three of them.
And now is the coffee, how is that, how do people get that?
So right now it's going to be through retail shops. So definitely ask your local retailer, and then eventually we're going to have it available online.
Okay.
And it's all small batch roasted.
Okay.
Because I'm not a coffee expert, but what happens with coffee when you grind it, it starts to break down.
Yeah.
Oxygen starts to, so it's best freshly roasted and grounded. So you're working really hard to provide it as fresh as possible. So when the orders come through, then we roast, and then it's shipped out. So you're gonna get some really fresh coffee.
Well, I'm excited to try one of your coffees now because it's about that time.
We gotta get
I
you.
saw that,
We
so
gotta
I'm gonna help myself to that.
All day.
I was excited for that.
Please,
Very cool.
please do.
And then I have to obviously, comment on this beautiful piece that John was telling me he had this made for you. I mean,
he had it. This was a gift. I didn't
Isn't
see
that
this
cool?
thing. To look at
the detail on that is, man.
I hope I don't mess up his name, but it was. I'm gonna have to have John pronounce his name, and I feel bad, but
it's beautiful.
He crushed it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He absolutely.
I mean,
crushed
there's so much detail on it. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Well, Nick, it's an honor
It's
as
always great seeing you.
No, you're seriously,
Yeah.
like, all bullshit aside, you're like the person I look up to most in the industry. I remember when I first got started and you gave me the time of day, you literally gave me that first stick, and it was amazing, and you've been great ever since. So It's always good to see people you like doing exceptionally well.
Same here. I'm a big fan, and you're really with a lot of class and
Thank you.
very elegant, and you're knowledgeable and keep.
It's always growing.
You gotta. If you're not anything not growing is dead. You gotta always be learning. So
definitely. Well,
you know,
I follow your example.
Since we met, I've been watching you guys, and your videos are fantastic. So,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know,
It means a lot coming from you.
You're not
Thank
just
you.
a pretty face.
Thank you.
So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
I appreciate
All right.
it as always.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Pleasure.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.